So, a couple days ago, I was part of our team that opened our second grocery store. And this comes after almost 5 years ago, our first grocery store opened. Um, and so it's been such a fascinating experience to go through the process 5 years ago of opening a grocery store and then go through the process again over these last couple months and to witness the differences between then and now, to witness the differences in myself, that like opening a grocery store is like putting yourself inside a pressure cooker. And 5 years ago, that pressure cooker, it morphed me into just kind of like the most extreme version of myself, of like all the tendencies that I already knew I had towards overworking and overanalyzing and over controlling and micromanaging, and like all of these tendencies, these workaholic package of glorious tendencies that I possess, that can definitely on one side of the sword be a superpower, but on the other side of the sword make me not the most popular person on the team. Let's just say that's probably a kind way to put it. And so 5 years ago, there there was like no guardrails to those tendencies within me. Like the immense pressure that I felt, my like kind of going into default mode where I didn't really think about it, I just responded, was to just work harder, just put in more hours and just double check more people's stuff and make sure that it's happening and blah, blah, blah. And the grocery store 5 years ago was like when we started, I had almost 30 people on my team, and it just very quickly became obvious that controlling it like this isn't working, and it's not going to work because there's just too many pieces. And you would think at that point I stopped trying to control it like that, but you'd be wrong. No, I went ahead and like ran myself all the way off a cliff there at one point, where like the first 21 days that we were open, I did not take a day off. I put all day, every day, everything I had, I put it into getting that grocery store off the ground. And to my own detriment, to my own detriment, and to the detriment of my relationships with the people on my team. Because as you can probably imagine, I was pretty much a nightmare to be around by that 21st day. Um, and so the part that I'm really reflecting on here this morning, between then, 5 years ago, and now, these last few days, is this like point in the process, because you push and push and push and push and push to get open, to like build a grocery store. You push and push and you put your heart and soul into it to like get to grand opening. And grand opening day, like unlocking the doors, turning on the open sign that very first time, is literally just the beginning. It's like just the beginning. It's just the beginning of 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year, 363 days a year. And that is where we are right now. We had our grand opening day 2 days ago. We've had 2 full days of business. And now this is the morning of the third day. And I'm not planning to be there. And there's a big difference between 5 years ago and now. 5 years ago, I was the store manager. I both built the store and was going to run the store. And this time I built the store, but we had somebody from the beginning who was always going to be the store manager once we got open. And so, like, building it this time, I knew I have a full-time store manager once we open. So I've been there all day the last couple days, and today will be my first time. I need to like work my other projects, my other things. So I won't be there again for 3 days. They're going to be flying solo for the next 3 days. And remember, 5 years ago, it was 21 days before I had a little bit of like a mental health crack up in my mind that sent me home to take a day off. But that was the only reason. If that hadn't happened, I probably would have just kept on working all day, every day until, I don't know, my physical body gave out or whatever. And so this time to think that I'm only going to be there the first 2 days and now they're going to fly solo for 3 days before I go back on Monday. Like, it is, I mean, I've never had a baby, but I gotta think, like, handing your baby over to somebody else to watch for 3 days after they're like 2 days old, like, no, you're probably not ever gonna do that. Like, that is not a choice that most new moms would make. And I'm not saying my grocery store is like your baby, but I am saying that that is a lot how I feel about it. And that's a lot how it feels to try to think that I'm not going to be there for 3 days. Like, oh, wow. And it's so interesting because I, I am exhausted. I am so excited to like be able to take these 3 days and to rest. And there is definitely part of me that's like, just forget about it and like just enjoy these next few days and like really recharge my batteries and replenish and like go back in there Monday recharged and refreshed, and we'll, go again and do the best we can again. And, they'll live through these next 3 days and it may not be perfect and there may be some hiccups and I may get some phone calls and like it'll be okay. And then there's part of me that's like, what are you talking about? You're not going to be there. You need to go there. Like this is like the back and forth in between the two different sides of me, at least two. There's usually more than that. But yeah, it's like I, on one hand, am very grateful to take the space and like recharge my batteries. And on the other hand, it is like making me a little bit nauseous to think about like not being there for 3 days and like all the things that could go wrong or that could happen or whatever. Like I'm catastrophizing in my brain. Yeah. Well, and like, okay, so again, like for those who aren't familiar, so like catastrophizing, as far as like what could go wrong with a grocery store. Here's my worst case scenario is that they don't know how to run the register. And now there's a line all the way down the aisle because people can't check out because they can't run the register. And now, like, there's like abandoned cartfuls of groceries because people didn't want to wait that long. And so they left. And like, that's my worst case scenario is that we lose sales because they don't know how to run the store. They don't know how to like actually like sell the groceries. Um, and even that is like, really? That's your worst case scenario? Like, now that I say it out loud, I'm like, that's, like if that happened like one time, one day, like that's not the end of the world kind of thing, like literally not the end of the world. And I feel like, like, this is what happened to me last time where I got like so sucked into it. I was so in the middle of all of the details and all of the operational pieces that are, needing to click into place so that the shelves are full and the cashiers are up there to sell the groceries. And, all it takes a lot of people doing a lot of different things to make sure that it's all going smoothly. And 5 years ago, I was the one that was like watching it all like a hawk, making sure that it was running smoothly because I absolutely needed it to run smoothly because we needed it to be perfect or whatever. And this time, I still have that pull. I can see where the girl who 5 years ago like fell face first into being a workaholic on her grocery store, like she's still in here and she really wants to go over there today and tomorrow and Sunday. Um, but like the inner parent in me is like, girl, you need a nap. You need like a couple of days where you let this tension come out of your shoulders, where you feed yourself multiple times a day and not just once at the end. You need a couple days where you actually get water during the day. And again, not just at the beginning and the end. Like we need a couple days to like maintain the vehicle, you know? And then you'll be totally good to go for Monday. And you can go and you can work your little tail off and you'll be great. But like just give us a couple days. And the inner workaholic inside me is like crying over this. Like I have so much anxiety inside of me thinking about I'm not going to be there and they don't know this and I haven't taught them this yet and they don't know about this and oh my god, like what if this happens, and like just so many thoughts about like all the pieces that I wish I could control. And it's just so fascinating to like watch this in myself and watch how I think the best part out of all of this right now is getting to see how there are guardrails this time. There's a brake pedal this time. Like last time I pushed and pushed and pushed to get open, and in those last couple weeks of it all coming together, you're running like 100 miles an hour trying to get it all done so that you can open on the day when you need to or whatever to get cash flowing through there. And we were going 100 miles trying to get open, and I never 100 miles an hour trying to get open, and I never pushed pause. I just kept going 100 miles an hour for 21 days. And then I crashed. I ran out of gas and I had to go home. And I had to, like, that day, um, I went to the store. I was planning to work that day. I went there and I was there for maybe 20, 30 minutes. And there were like three different people in the span of those 20 minutes that as they were telling me what they were telling me, I was thinking in my brain how badly I wanted to like punch them. I've never punched anybody in my life, but I really wanted to punch all of them, every single person I came into contact with that morning. And I was like, I don't think this is a good sign. I don't think that's good that I'm, fantasizing about what would it feel like if I just like punched you right upside the face right now? Like that's not a good sign. So I was like, wow, okay, yeah, I'm about to have a meltdown. I'm pretty sure that that's what this is. I'm pretty sure that my gas tank is on fumes and I have nothing left to give. And at that point, I looked at my assistant manager and I said, I'm going home. I'd been there for 20 minutes. We're not even open yet. And I'm like, I'm going home. You'll be fine. I'll be back tomorrow. And I left and they were fine. And I came back the next day and it was all fine. And this time, I mean, the week leading up to opening, we ran 100 miles an hour and we met an incredibly impressive deadline, if I do say so myself. We opened a grocery store in 6 weeks. That, according to the people who supported us through that process, has never been done before. So cool. But this time, I did the 100 miles an hour up to opening. Opening day was pretty intense. We had a lot going on, a lot of customers in the store, which was great. And then yesterday, I I woke up still going 100 miles an hour. So for intending for day 2 to go in there and like whip a bunch more stuff into shape, like fix this, get this going, reorganize this, do this. These need moved over here, like do this, blah, blah, blah. We need to write these price tags. We need to call these people and get this coming. We need to, and I had like 4 pages of to-do list items that we were going to do yesterday. And something clicked inside of me, like in that anxiety that's like, this does not feel good. And this 100 miles an hour is not sustainable. I know that from 5 years ago. Like, it doesn't last but a couple weeks and then you're crashed out. Then, like, who's going to be there to help and to do the things? And like this new store, it doesn't have 30 people on staff that can try to help pick up the slack if one person needs to take a day off. Like, this is a small store and a small team. And so any one of them burning themselves out right away is going to be like a huge gap on the team. And so as I realized, like, it's not sustainable for me, It's not sustainable for them. We have all worked so hard to get to this point that how about instead of taking 4 pages worth of shit in there that we need to get done, how about I go in there and congratulate them on the incredible accomplishment that they achieved, that we achieved together? We kicked ass. We did so good. We are so impressive. We nailed it. And I did. I went in there and I told them all day, like, we did such a good job. Congratulations on our grand opening. Thank you so much for everything that you put into it. It was a huge success. And rather than like, all right, guys, like, we got to get this done, this done, this done. Here's your list, this. Stop standing around, get to work. Like, that was me 5 years ago. Lovely, I know. And this time I was like, we did awesome. We did so good. And you were such a huge part of that. Thank you so much. Yep. Let's just keep doing what we're doing. Let's put one foot in front of the other. Let's make sure our customers today have another awesome day's worth of experience at our store. And in between customers, we'll get done the tasks that we have time for. We'll do the training that we have time for. And when I come back on Monday, we'll do the next little bit. And when I come back the next day, we'll do the next little bit. And we'll just, we'll just keep enjoying what we're doing. And most importantly, we'll find, using our brake pedal that I now have, we're going to find a speed that's sustainable. Because 100 miles an hour is not sustainable for long periods of time. I found out I do like it. I love going 100 miles an hour work-wise for a little while, for like, here's one intense week in 2 years. That's pretty fun. But yeah, you can't do that for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. It just doesn't work. There's got to be balance between output and input. If you're just constantly exhaling, you'll pass out and suffocate. So it's like that. It's like, needing to find that balance between working and building and resting. Because now that we're open, the pushing to get open, that was 6 weeks this time. 5 years ago, it took us 10 months, but our starting points were extremely different. So like you push for opening, and that's just the pre-phase. And now opening day, like that hopefully lasts for decades, right? Like hopefully this phase of being open is years and years and years and years and years and years. We're 5 years into Cecil K's and stronger than ever. And that is what I hope for this next store. So rather than me going in there and cracking the whip and forcing them to like keep getting the stuff done, I took a completely like 180-degree turn on my approach, and we had a great day yesterday. We got done maybe not even like 1 page of my 4 pages of stuff that I wanted to accomplish, but that is not the most important thing. And 5 years ago, Carly absolutely thought it was. Absolutely thought that all of the pieces running like a well-oiled machine was the most important thing that we are here to accomplish. And now I fully understand and embrace, and yesterday demonstrated, that the most important thing are the relationships that we are building with each other, those of us on the team running the store, and that we are enjoying being there, so that when customers come in, we can be joyful genuinely with them. That was so hard to see, like, when you gotta like push people. Well, you don't have to, but 5 years ago, I really thought I did, when I'm like pushing them so hard to like work harder, work faster, we need to get more done. And then they're stressed to the max, and now they're ignoring customers because they got to get their shit done. And it's like, okay, well, that backfired, because that's definitely not what I want. I want them to give the customers a good experience. But if I'm not giving the employees a good experience, how are they going to turn around and give the customers a good experience? So yesterday, Carly took a completely different approach and got a completely different response. like instead of the employees like closing down towards me and like running away when they see me coming like 5 years ago, they were so excited that I was there and we got a little bit of stuff done and we had fun and I got to know them all a little bit better as people. Like, who are they in their lives and where did they come from? And, who are you? And yeah, great. You're an fascinating human being. Like, I want to know you and I want to get some of this stuff done. And I want to be joyful with our customers and chat them up and express our enthusiasm that they're there and that we're there and we love being here. We're so excited. Like, to keep that going felt like the most important thing. And in order to allow it to keep going, I had to let go of all of this like control freak energy where I'm pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing to get all of the things done. And so opening a grocery store sounds like a very like physical business entrepreneur type adventure. Like, it's going to be very like commerce, like you're selling groceries, like you're exchanging food for money. Like, that's what that is. But oh my God, like, talk about a spiritual experience. Talk about like, oh, what is it called? Like a pilgrimage almost, like a journey of spiritual experience and reflection and getting to see yourself from a different angle. And now, like, kind of in this 5 years ago, then, and now, kind of full circle moments of getting to witness like how much I've grown over the last 5 years, how much I have come into my own stability. Like, I think that's where most of this is coming from, is like 5 years ago, I genuinely believed that I was making it happen with my two hands. And now I wholeheartedly believe that I am barely doing anything, that the universe is putting this together. And every single customer that comes through that store is manifesting the exact experience that they are meant to have. And we've only had two crabby customers so far. And it really was interesting because in a sea of hundreds of very upbeat, happy, enthusiastic, excited, grateful customers, to have two that were crab apples, like, really, really was clarifying as far as like, oh, what was their issue? Their personality. No offense. But yeah, like, they want it to be wrong. They are skeptical, they are judgmental, they're critical, they're unhappy, unsatisfied people within their personality. Like, there's nothing that we're going to be able to do to satisfy them. And the fact that 99.99999% of the customers were nothing but incredibly grateful and satisfied, it was just very eye-opening that, once again, like, 5 years ago, I was trying to make sure that every single customer had a brilliant experience inside our store. And now I know that there are some customers that are not going to be capable of having a satisfactory experience, and that is not a reflection of me or my staff. And so there is so much that I have learned in these last 5 years that has let this second store be a completely different experience than the first store. Um, and I had to say all of this and like commemorate and celebrate this growth and this reflection and my brake pedal that I didn't have 5 years ago. And now I have a brake pedal. Like, how cool is that? To slow myself down, to, push hard when I need to, and then recover, and to be able to disengage from that 100 miles an hour mode and come back into a still centered place of what's sustainable, what's joyful, what's easy, what's flowing, and, doing the best that we can, but also like really having fun along the way and having fun with each other and our customers. Like, I want to find the pace where we're going to show up and we're going to go at this pace every day for years, you know? And yesterday was such a good start to that. And I I think that's the main thing, you know, 25 minutes worth of reflection on this beautiful full circle experience of 5 years ago compared to now, and just really really milking how satisfied and how proud I am of myself and the teeny tiny little daily increments of self reflection and healing that I did 1 millimeter at a time. And when you zoom out to 5 years later, like, man, that stuff adds up fast.